the stops and starts you guys have had, trouble building momentum. So I just feel like more of the same this weekend. Grab Friday, almost, could have had the abbreviated sweep, and then it just falls apart.
Not necessarily. It's still a good baseball game. You maybe feel that way if you feel like you went out and laid an egg, but you played a really good baseball game, and they get a run in the bottom of the eighth and a couple runs in the bottom of the eighth, obviously. But no, I don't think it feels that way. You still have to, in our position, look at, like, we're going to go get on a plane, get to Tampa, and try to win a series, and look at it and say it's a good road trip against a tough AL East stretch. Like, that's how you have to look at it. So that's what we'll do.
Now, I don't know about you, Mike Hurley, but I remember a time where the Red Sox would lose a game to the Yankees 6-1, and the manager would come out and say it's a bad baseball game, not a good baseball game. I do remember when that existed. I know we don't live in that world in 2026.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily bad. Not necessarily. Was he there yesterday? Was he at the game? Because Friday, great win. Did you catch the game Friday?
I did. A little bit of it. Nice win.
Complete victory. Mm-hmm. The solid pitching and the good defense was complemented by the long ball, some home runs. So that was a good one.
You're allowed to do that in baseball.
Rained out Saturday.
Sure.
Rained out Sunday, I guess. Was that what this comment was made after another rain out?
I think so. Okay. Spawn saying,
must have been.
Pray for rain. Yeah. Red Sox got rained out all weekend.
Must have been.
They won the series 1-0 in New York.
Must be it.
Good for them. Good baseball out there. Strong baseball.
Did that comment there from Chad Tracy? Hi, by the way.
Hi, how you doing?
Great.
It's a re-entry Monday, by the way. Jimmy Stewart is there as well. He's waving his hands back and forth as if we did not acknowledge him. I acknowledge you, Jay Stu.
It wasn't that. It was the fact that you went into the take and then you stopped to do grab ass. Like, no, like, you're going to do grab ass, do like 5 seconds of grab ass, and then go through the show, A to B, point A to B.
I said hi. I do apologize. I know we don't say hi on this program, so that's my bad.
I want to say hello to you. Hi, Michael Hurley.
Hey, let's move on quick.
I'm Matt McCarthy. He's Jimmy Stewart. It's a re-entry Monday.
And Ryan Garvin.
Garvin's here,
by the way. Great producer.
Garvin is a great producer. Intern Aurora. The reason we're here is because it's the Who's Your Caddy Classic today. It's the golf tournament. I'm fresh off the golf tournament. I got my Doug Marabelli police escort from Brook Meadow Country Club all the way up here to Waltham.
I thought I heard the chopper land on the roof.
Good day out on the course today, raising money for Special Olympics. Awesome day. So it's McCarthy and Hurley in for the guys on a re-entry Monday, brought to you by Blue Bear Plumbing. When it comes to plumbing, heating, and air, no one compares to Blue Bear. When you call Blue Bear, you can expect expert service from their friendly staff for all your heating and plumbing services. For more information or to book your appointment today, visit bluebearplumbing.com. Now that we've gotten the pleasantries and the bill paying out of the way, we must resume the hot takes. Is that how we do it?
Yes.
Okay, you were in the middle of a hot take when you said hello to me.
There's something about this Red Sox, I mean, it's kind of top to bottom in the organization. You've had Sam Kennedy even address the fact that he's been accused of having toxic positivity this year. Craig Breslow smiling every time he speaks. Chad Tracy being a clone of Craig Breslow and coming out and be like, yeah, they scored 1 in the 8th. They didn't score 1 in the 8th. You lost 6-1. It fell apart. And these things happen over the course of a season. But to come out and put this sort of smile on it, I don't know who that works for. I know that being a fan in Boston has changed over the years. From the 90s, obviously this would not have worked. But are there happy-go-lucky, just happy to be there Red Sox fans who are like, yeah, go to Tampa and you can maybe split this road trip and feel good about yourself? I don't know who that's for.
Well, in the end, we can crap on Chad Tracy all we want for coming out and saying, you played some good baseball when you lose to the Yankees. What do you want the guy to say? I mean, he's the interim manager. Are we really going to direct our ire at Chad Tracy? He's in an impossible spot. He's managing a team that's not good, that's probably on the verge of stripping it down, or they should be on the verge of stripping it down at the deadline. He's got ownership problems above him. He's got baseball operations problems above him. He does not have a good roster. Every time Breslow gets asked about him, every time his boss is asked about him, the boss comes out and basically says, I can't wait to get rid of him. I mean, we're not giving him the job. No, we refuse to commit to Chad Tracy. What do you want from the guy? I'm not going to pile on him. It's not his fault.
I know, but it's just like putting a cherry on top of a sundae that doesn't exist. There's just no need for it, and I just think no one's buying it. That's really the case, but I think they are. Internally, I think there is the fact that the day after you fire Alex Cora, you come out and say, we're a playoff team. We're going to make a deep run. I don't think they have any sense of their reality, and here's where I'm at on the Red Sox, Matt McCarthy. They're closer to having the worst record in baseball than they are the wild card. Which one do you think they're focused on? Which one do you think is slapping them in the face?
No, they're focused on the wild card. They'll make the argument they're only 3.5 out, which is an argument I've heard for years now, ever since baseball expanded to 6 teams in each division and each league making the playoffs. You're never going to be more than 3 or 4 out. That's just the nature of it. Now, you'll be in 12th place when you're 4 out of the playoffs, but you're always going to be, in the end, as you said, closer to the bottom of the league than you are to the playoffs. It's not how many games are between you and the playoffs, it's how many teams
and
are between you and the playoffs.
There are more teams between you and the third wild card than there are between you in last place in Major League Baseball, not the American League.
And by the way, it's going to be the same thing at the deadline too. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to hear it at the deadline. Well, we're only 3 out. That's why we, kind of went out and added a little bit. And by the way, there's something going on with the roster today. We'll keep an eye on it. Nate Eaton is going to be called up. He's joined the team in Tampa. We don't know the corresponding move. You typically hear corresponding moves pretty quickly.
Unless maybe it's one they don't want in the media. Maybe they want to sit someone down and let them know that they have a vacation booked to Worcester.
So is that Marcelo Meyer? Is a trade happening? They say it's not an injury. So we're going to find out at some point during the show today, I would think, as to why Eaton's on the roster. My gut suggests it's probably Meyer, given he sucks at baseball and can just go to Worcester with Christian Campbell and Brian Bayo and the rest of these guys, which, by the way, I would say I have no problem with. Start sending some of these guys to Worcester. Send the message that you can't get away with this at the major league level. I'm on board with that. I hope the corresponding move is Meyer. Get him out of here. Guy can't play.
Are we sure it's not Durbin? Because Durbin has sought help, per Jared Carabas on the Baseball Hour, to help with his swing from a place in Waltham. So are the Red Sox mad that he's seeking not driveline people?
My guess is that would have happened a week ago when we found out about all of that, or something close to it.
But I mean, the Red Sox have been on delay for a while now, so what's a week to them?
That's fair. But it also has kind of worked. Durbin's at least hit somewhat recently.
Yeah, you get him away from anything Red Sox going on.
But his expected rate has gone down, even though his actual stuff has improved.
That's my bad. That is my bad. But
it's expected, not actual. That's how we do things now.
Fair enough.
I'm expecting this show to be really successful. We'll see if a reality hits that.
What would you say the first 9 minutes, Jimmy? What's your evaluation of the program so far?
The fact that I'm yelling already is probably a bad sign.
Just to
he's trying to get more out of us.
Fair enough. To accentuate, I put this in the email today. I wanted to get it right. Marcelo Meyer hit 198 with a 235 slugging percentage in the entire month of May. That's incredible. And then this month, 111 with a 211 OPS in 6 games in June.
He's got to go.
He can't. He is not a big. He probably statistically is the worst hitter in Major League Baseball this year.
He's pretty close to it. And this was supposed to be our savior? You remember the way he was talked about 3 years ago? He was talked about as if he was the second coming. When Chaim Bloom comes out and says, we're going to do this, it's going to be awesome, that's in reference to Marcelo Meyer. The issues run deeper than what the manager said yesterday. The issues run deeper than Justin Slayton coming out in the 8th inning and giving up a bomb and being terrible in that inning. The issues run deeper than Craig Breslow himself. The issues run deeper than ownership. It is everything in the organization. And I think oftentimes, Hurley, we have a tendency to focus on the manager, focus on ownership, focus on baseball operations and why Breslow needs to go and why you want Henry to sell the team and why Cora needed to go and all of that. We don't spend enough time on the actual core, the actual roster itself. To your point, Marcelo Meyer is a bust. He is on the verge of being a bust. Can we talk about that? I mean, at some point, that's on him, too, because he has all the ability in the world, the God-given talent. And if he is the corresponding move for Nate Eaton today, can we talk about the fact that this guy has the most beautiful swing on planet Earth and, is so fluid in the field, yet you have Isaiah Kiner-Falefa probably calling him and Roman Anthony out last week for the distractions at home. We talk about that, how he's not serious enough about the game and how he's probably never going to reach his potential because he just can't figure it out because he doesn't have what it takes probably above the shoulders. Same with Brian Bayo. Same with Christian Campbell, who has all kinds of talent, at least as a hitter, and is not hitting in Worcester. Same with all of these guys that they gave this money to. Did they ever bother to look above the shoulders and see if there's any fight or competitiveness or heart in any of these guys? Because this core sucks. The core sucks. And we need to start talking about that. They are not good enough. The rebuild from 2020 to 2025 got you the likes of Marcelo Meyer and Brian Bayo and Tristan Casas and Jaron Duran, just a whole bunch of guys that in the end you don't want to build around, and they've built around.
Can I, this is out of character, can I give them credit for one thing? Because you point out Christian Campbell, you point out Marcelo Meyer, you point out Roman Anthony this year. They've had trouble developing the young players offensively. I like what they've done with the pitching staff. If you've got to put a big check mark for Craig Breslow, which is difficult to do. I mean, even the young pitchers, like you like Peyton Tolley, you like Connolly Early, you like what you've seen there. So that's the one thing where I'm thinking, are they going to keep Craig Breslow? And that will be the saving grace. I don't think it's enough because clearly you watch this team every night go down 1, 2, 3, go down in order. You don't even have to watch the third, fourth, fifth, sixth inning. You know what's going to happen. So to see that, you know it's not good enough, but I wonder if the organization looks at it and say, wow, we haven't had Crochet for 6 weeks, and we haven't even missed him. That's how good the pitching's been. I think that is the risk or concern if you're looking at this team where he's going to keep that job, he's going to buy, he's going to try to add instead of sell off a team that we know is just a bad team.
So you're concerned they're going to keep Breslow through this deadline?
Yes, that's a concern of mine. And the pitching is a legitimate feather in his cap.
We have some reporting and some information and some, I would say, innuendo on why Breslow might not be back. First sign. If the story last week from Tim Healy wasn't the first sign, we now have our second sign that they might be greasing the skids on Craig Breslow from a friend of the program. Well, we'll get to that.
Step one was Theo crawling out from below ground and saying, "Hi, I'm still here." But then we've seen some steps.
All right, 617-779-0985. Information, suggestions on Craig Breslow's future from a friend of this very program. We'll get to that. Next, it's a re-entry Monday. No Felger, no Maz, no Murray. They're raising money today for Special Olympics at the Who's Your Caddy Classic. It's McCarthy and Hurley in for the guys.
That shows me they're going to sell, like with their setup right now. I don't think Breslow is inclined to sell. He wants to keep his job and try to prove that this team can make the playoffs.
What if he doesn't keep his job?
Oh, if he doesn't make it to the deadline?
Yeah.
I'd be surprised by that at this point. They bring somebody in within the next 7 weeks. Oh, you did the thing. You just did the face.
Did you hear something, Jared, with Mr. Henry in New York for the series?
You did the face.
Speak up.
Wham! I don't know what you mean. By the way, John Henry was only in New York because it's family's weekend.
Oh, don't do that to us, Carabas. Come out and tell us what you know. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love the hints, but...
Credit to Tyler Milliken, the Mill Missile, for actually following up and be like, what are you hearing, Jared?
Press him on it. I mean, he didn't want to go any farther on that, but you know what? You taught him well, Jay Stu, and that's a member of the Jimmy Stewart coaching tree, asking the follow-up question. What are you saying, Jared? I think we all can glean what Jared Carabas is saying on the Section 10 podcast. He thinks Breslow's gone, and he thinks he's gone by the deadline. I did not think it was going to go this way a month ago. I'm starting to think it's going this way now. The Tim Healy story last week, as you mentioned, Theo coming out, all of a sudden it's like, hey, Theo's still here.
He's got an eye on the Red Sox. He was just watching them sew up a nice 3-1 victory in Minnesota.
You get now Carabas, who talks to everybody in the organization over there about things, insinuating that Breslow's gone, done, to which I would say good. Obviously, he should go. I mean, you can't build this team and keep your job. You shouldn't keep your job. And he should not be allowed to run the deadline. Jimmy Stewart, in hosting the baseball hour the other night, made the most important point of all. You cannot let Breslow run this deadline unless you extend him and empower him. He needs some type of job security. Otherwise, he's not going to do what is right at the deadline, which is strip this team down for parts, have a fire sale, do your best to reset quickly by accumulating as many assets as possible. There are pieces on this team that can go. Chapman can go. He'll get you something. Whitlock can go. He'll get you something. Justin Slayton, pitching yesterday, didn't look good. Trust me, he'll get you something. Sonny Gray, Wilson Contreras. Jaron Duran's not worth that much because the rest of baseball doesn't think he's very good.
Could get you a reliever.
Understandably so. I will take anything I can get on Jaron Duran at this point. You're getting 40 cents on the dollar. Fine. It's 40 cents. Give me the 40 cents, and eventually I'll manage to collect $1 somewhere else. by trading the rest of the team. And Breslow's not going to do that unless you give him an extension. And if you give him an extension, it's not an earned extension. It's just giving him an extension to try and get the most out of him at a deadline, which he's screwed up the past 2 years anyway. So he's got to go. By July 1st, he's got to go.
I'm glad you finished on that point because that is logically true. If he is to be the chief baseball big pants boy at the deadline, whatever they call his job title, he needs that extent. I know in this program you're not allowed to mix sports, but Dad's not home, so we're going to do it. The way that the Bruins did with Don Sweeney 2 years ago, where they said, listen, he's probably like, we can sell off these assets, we can flip it around, and we can have a rather quick turnaround rather than be stuck in mediocrity or worse for the next 10 years. And they let him do it. And you sell off Brad Marchand, you sell off Brandon Carlo, et cetera, Charlie Cole, all the way down. They had a fire sale and hit on most of them. And it's going to lead to a better franchise moving forward. If this franchise is waiting until the end of the year, it's too late. If you're waiting to see if you make the playoffs, give them another chance to make the playoffs. It'll be too late because you will be missing out on all those players you talked about that can add. I think back, I was big on this. Did we already talk about 2022?
No.
When Bloom was in charge. Remember he traded Christian Vazquez?
Yeah.
And the clubhouse rioted. They were furious. That team was 500. They said, what are you doing? He had to go out to, where were they? Minnesota. They were somewhere on the road.
Got traded to the Astros.
He had to fly down to Houston. He had to have a meeting. He had to calm them all. And then he started adding, like, very soft ads. But he stopped selling. They had Xander Bogaerts on a deal. They knew they weren't going to re-sign him. They had J.D. Martinez on a contract that was going to expire. They had Nate Eovaldi. Imagine if in the summer of 2022 they traded all those players for prospects that were going to help your organization going forward. Instead, you lost all of them. That team ended up 6 games under 500, didn't make the playoffs, stunk, and we knew it in July. But because Chaim Bloom was trying to save his job, he added instead of subtracted. And as you mentioned, they got Willie Abreu in that Christian Vazquez deal. What a win that is for the Red Sox. You can try. You can make 4 or 5 of those this summer. That 3-4 years down the line, you say, wow, they had a nice trade deadline that year.
The difference is Bloom was a coward. Bloom had no balls, no guts, so he trades one veteran guy.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
You're saying he's got all the balls, Mr. Breslow?
Breslow has way more balls than Bloom.
Okay.
The problem is he's going to do something bold in the other direction. He's going to try to add to save his job. Bloom wasn't totally on the hot seat at that point, but he was like, well, I can middle it. I'm going to be Chaim Bloom. I'm going to be a coward about this.
And
I'm going
to follow, he got fired the next year.
Yeah. I'm going to trade one piece away because I like the return I'm getting, but I don't want to trade Bogaerts. I don't want to trade Martinez because we can still kind of make the playoffs, and I'm going to go out and add Eric Hosmer instead. So he middled it. He did what he did. Breslow and Bloom undeniably are both nerds. They're both analytically driven. They do approach the job, though, differently. I mean, Breslow, for good or bad, has some guts. He's got no problem shipping a guy out if he's got a problem with the guy. The only issue is he's not going to want to sell because he's trying to save his job.
Right.
Like right now, this Nate Eaton news today, he's coming up. I am concerned. I'm terrified that Breslow has gone out and added to this roster. And that's why Eaton's up and there's some type of move that needs to be made as part of this. I'm terrified that they're adding some guy.
It looks like Joe LaSource is going to AAA, according to Ari Alexander.
Well, he earned that, that's for sure.
First pitch as a Red Sox.
Not great.
Smell you later.
As Ryan Garvin just said, Bayo needed an opener in Worcester.
You know, I did ask that question this weekend, and they had not officially decided yet whether Bayo's going to start. He is going to start in Worcester, and honestly, I would have put him in the bullpen in Worcester. I would have said, listen, buddy, you think you're a starter based on the antics and the attitude the other day after, getting lit up in Boston? Well, you're our 6th inning guy in Worcester. Have fun with it. But no, he is going to start there.
Do you think this is on track to some degree? Do you think you've done a lot of games out there in Worcester? Yeah. You're familiar with it. Beautiful, sparkling, modern AAA ballpark.
It's awesome.
Not trying to besmirch the organization or anything about it. Do you think when Brian Bayo goes down there and is out in Rochester, he's going to fall in love with baseball?
I don't think he's going to.
No, not in Rochester.
That's a long
New York?
bus ride to Rochester.
Well, they do go to Lehigh Valley after that. Do you think he might fall in love with baseball there? It's a long bus ride.
It's a valley.
Admit.
Valleys are beautiful, aren't they?
Does he have to ride the bus?
He has to ride the bus. That was the first question I asked the other day to Jim Kane, the Worcester, one of the Worcester broadcasters. He said, "By the way, you guys bus to Rochester, right?" He said, "Yep." I said, "All right, well, Bayo's going to enjoy that ride.
What's that, like 6 hours in the bus?
He can buy a lot of snacks for the team on that bus ride. $55 million. It'll go a long way. Long way for you in Worcester.
That's a 5 hour and 20-minute drive on the bus.
What, a half-hour flight probably?
Maybe an hour.
You're
then you gotta drive 4.5 hours to Lehigh Valley. I do not think he'll be falling in love with baseball in the coming 10 days.
Can't say I'm expecting it either. Tom and Quincy, what's up, Tom?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, I'm in the mind. I think like you guys are that they should basically put every veteran on this team out available for trade. Do I think they'll do it? Probably not. Can you get rid of some of them? Sure. Breslow can't be the guy to do it, right? And if Breslow's still here by the time the trade deadline does roll around, and he's the one that is going to be making these moves, then you better get familiar with what the minor league systems of the Cardinals and the Pirates are, because that's the only teams that he can close with is with Cherington and Bloom. Everything that he's gotten back, you'll be at Sonny Gray, along with the $10 million they sent back with him or whatever. It's always Cherington and Bloom. You can't deal with Milwaukee because you will get fleeced beyond belief like you did with the Durbin trade. So, in my opinion, honest to God, the only people I would keep that I would not trade away right now is Tolle, Early, Anthony, Rafaela, and Abreu. Every single person on this staff, pitching-wise, offensively, make them available, take what you can, and then buy bats in the offseason with free agency and go from there. Build it around Tolle and Early and be done with this thing.
Yeah, I mean, Tom, I would agree with you. I actually think you probably have still too many guys on that list. Like, I like Wilyer Abreu, but if he gets you a power-hitting infielder, I'd make that move.
I think you do need to keep players. You do need to field a team going forward. I think Abreu is a good anchor going forward if you want 5. So I understand that one. Rafaela, I understand the defense. The defense is back now. It started out slow this year, so I can see wanting that. But yeah, sure. I mean, was Crochet on his list? Because Crochet's on my list.
No.
You're not trading Crochet.
I'm not trading Crochet.
You can't trade Suarez. He just signed a 5-year deal. He's not going anywhere. Sonny Gray should have been traded. He should be traded tomorrow.
Sonny Gray, Wilson Contreras, both of whom I like, by the way.
Yeah, great additions. Just useless here.
Getting reporting over the weekend, they're very interested in trading Connor Wong. I'm sure people are knocking down the door for their catching surplus because, as Tom mentioned, they can't communicate with anybody. The only people that Breslow can communicate with are people of his own, Bloom, Cherington, guys like that. Can't communicate still with anybody on the roster. Carlos Narvaez said this today to Jen McCaffrey. Now, you may recall Carlos Narvaez at one point was the starting catcher for the Boston Red Sox.
Yes, I do recall. I remember him batting cleanup for this team last year.
Yeah, he's not that anymore. No, very much so not.
Well, he wasn't then either, but they didn't have a cleanup hitter.
And nobody's told him that he's not the starting catcher of the Red Sox anymore. This again from Jen McCaffrey. Quote, "I haven't talked with nobody. Nobody has talked with me. But like I said, I get it. I'm part of the team and I understand what's going on. But on my end, I just have to be ready. No one is telling me anything. If something changed, and clearly something changed, but I don't know, just be ready for the opportunity, and that's it." This guy got benched, 2 weeks ago? And nobody's told him he's not the starting catcher anymore? I mean, listen, when you get benched, you know you've been benched. I think it's pretty simple. We've all had moments in our life somewhere, sometime where we've been benched. You were a part of the team, and then you weren't. Now, all of a sudden, he's not a part of the starting lineup. Nobody bothered to tell him.
Ideally, you'd still have a conversation like, listen, the bat's gone cold. Mickey's hitting it well. We're gonna ride him for a little bit, but don't worry because we're gonna put Connor Wong on the trading block in a couple weeks, and people will be knocking down our doors to get him.
How about Peter in Wakefield? Hey, Peter.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Noodles on left, Duran in center, Abreu right, Durbin third. Saddam short.
Okay.
Maya second. Contreras first.
Yep.
Wonger.
That's a starting 9. What about
What else do you want?
Well, I would like a winning baseball team because what you just said right there is not a winning baseball team.
Who's in left? Who's Noodles?
That would be Roman Anthony.
Oh,
he said the call screen said the Red Sox shouldn't give up. So I think he thinks that's a good enough baseball team.
That'll get you 6-7 games under 500.
The fix, according to him, is move Cedar Rafaela to shortstop. That was what he was saying. Can you imagine there are people out there who are watching this team? And I know they exist. Oh, you're only 3.5 out in the wild card. Watch the team. They're terrible. They're awful. Use your eyes.
Check out the Handy Dandy standings page, McCarthy, and you just look at the run differential. You've got the top wild card teams. Yankees at plus 96. That's pretty good. The White Sox at plus 8. The Rangers at plus 14. Nobody else has a positive run differential. You're all the way down at you're minus 9, so you're better than a lot of them, but you're not in that class. And you can be deceived, I can see, by the pitching and the defense and the close games that are close until they're not, like yesterday. But you just can't compete. You're not going to compete. And adding a bat to that 9 that we just heard does virtually nothing.
Well, there are people who still want them to add. Team employees who want this team to add. We'll hear from them. We'll hear from you at 617-779-0985. Quick update on the headlines. We'll continue. It's Matt McCarthy and Michael Hurley in for Felger and Maz today.
Do you stay the course or do you blow it up?
They got to figure something out. They're only 3.5 games out of this wild card. That's why you don't blow it up yet, BK. It's a weird year. You know it's a weird year. You have one team, the Dodgers. I told you on the show they're going to win between 117 and 120 games if they want to, and it looks like they can when they want to. This is the thing. There is so many weird teams and stuff. We just talked about average, but with under 500. Red Sox are 3.5 games out. Their starting staff, you know that's a World Series thing with Crochet coming back. Yeah. And then you look at what Peyton Tolley, just the excitement he could bring to an organization, the fun, the smile, the mustache, everything. My point is that staff with Chapman at the back end can win a World Series, no doubt about it. Yeah. They have to get a dude that hits. Wilson Contreras has been awesome for him, right? He has hit. He has hit with power. Yes, he's strong. He's going to get in his 5 scuffles a year. Duran's getting homer hot. But I'll tell you this, they got to figure out one hitter, whatever they got to do, make a move. But I don't know if I blow it up.
Strange year, McCarthy.
Oh, well, yeah, the American League sucks. And boy, that pitching staff can win a World Series. Yeah. They're 9 games under 500.
Yeah, but what if they weren't?
Dude. Can we live in reality? Can we just ground ourselves with what's going on around us a little bit? Can we just open our eyes and say, wow, they're really not good? And I get it. You know, Millar works for MLB Network. He works for the team. He does the NESN broadcast. I understand it. They're 9 games below 500. They're 4 games out of the playoffs. They have 6 teams ahead of them for the playoffs. They're in 11th place in the American League. They are 3.5 games out from having the worst record in the American League. You are closer to the worst record than you are to the playoffs, and it's been that way for a month and a half at this point. Open your eyes, wake up, blow it up.
What is more likely to happen? Play this game with me, okay? You've got the currently the 3rd wild card occupied by the Texas Rangers. Beneath them, you have the No City Athletics, you have the Orioles, you have the Twins, you have the Astros. All of those teams ahead of the Red Sox. The Red Sox outperforming all of those teams, or the Tigers, Royals, and Angels outperforming the Red Sox the rest of the way, thus moving the Red Sox to the bottom of the American League. Which is more likely to happen?
The Red Sox are more likely to finish 15th place in the American League.
I think so, too.
Finish in the playoffs.
I think if we were laying the odds, you'd have last place at plus 110, and you'd have making the wild card at plus 500.
Here's my concern. They're going to middle it at the deadline the way they always do. They might sell off a piece. They might make a small bat ad because, we need to add a bat. I mean, all I keep hearing, Millar just said it right there. Oh, well, just add a bat. You need a dude who can hit. Great. How are you going to get that guy again?
Well, they want a bad contract. They're out there shopping for bad contracts, apparently.
Yeah, sure. Now they finally want to spend money. They will be delusional. And I don't know ultimately what Craig Breslow thinks. I have to imagine he can open his eyes enough and get out of the spreadsheet and look at this team and say they're not good enough. But again, there's nothing more dangerous in sports than a general manager with something to prove, and he's going to ignore his gut. He's going to ignore his eyes. He's going to ignore the math, which is they're in 11th place in the American League. They're 9 games under 500, and he's going to go out and try to add. Because we keep getting this reporting, it's hard to make deals in May, but they're really burning up the phone lines. They're burning the candle at both ends to try and add a bat. I mean, maybe they're just saying that to try and spin us on the hope that there is still, something left in this season. But I think anybody who can look at this situation realistically, Hurley would say they're done, they're cooked, and they should be selling.
Yeah, and it's like, pull my arm, I will part with Connor Wong. That's the only piece of the roster they're willing to part with, and it tells you that they don't see it that way. And again, if my job were on the line, I would be thinking the same thing. If I knew if this continues and we aren't even close to the playoffs, you can't even sell your bosses on coming close to the playoffs, you're gone. And he knows that, so it's like a desperation thing, and that's why they're at the decision point. You can't push it off until September or October.
Here's the problem, though. Breslow's trying to sell a couple of bosses who are not tied into this the way they should be. Sam Kennedy is not a baseball guy. He's a business guy, but Breslow reports to him. Henry, who was absent for a little while, is now very much present. He's in New York. He's seeing all of this. I mean, there's no way he likes what's going on. I mean, I do believe David Ortiz when he says that, but is John Henry going to do an about face on this philosophy that he's had in recent years to hire young, analytical general managers and just completely, not bring in the real crusty old baseball guy, the Dave Dombrowski type, and empower him to run the organization? Because that's what they need. They need a real baseball guy who does not report to Kennedy, who reports directly to John Henry. Dave Dombrowski runs the Red Sox type of thing. Larry Lucchino runs the Red Sox. Right now, Sam Kennedy runs the Red Sox, which is good for the business side of things because the Red Sox make money hand over fist, and Sam's a good business guy.
Look at those little coolers. People love the little coolers.
Who wouldn't?
You can't even get one. You can't even get a cooler.
They're moving coolers, baby. Now they need to move players off this roster, but they don't have a general manager who has enough experience, power, authority, you name it, to do what is right.
And that's why I don't know who could even make this decision and who could make the call. Ultimately, it's Henry, of course, but there's not a baseball man above Breslow. And it's just a strange situation where the baseball operation has almost become, I don't want to say secondary to the franchise operation, but it doesn't feel like the fact that Sam Kennedy has become the outward face of ownership, of the front office, of everything. Like, he has to answer for everything because there's no one running the baseball other than Breslow. I don't know who's going to make this decision.
How about James in the car? Hey, James.
Hey, what's going on, guys? So you talked about, when you came back from break, you talked about, can we come back to reality? And it's so hard trying to wrap your head around the reality when you go from walking into this last off season to where we're at now. I don't know how you go from having Bregman in the wings, you got a couple young bats coming up and a good pitching staff, and there's a couple power bats on the market, and you got your hopes up, and now Craig Breslow got Jason Varitek fired, and this is a multi-year rebuild. This is a multi-year rebuild now, and John Henry can't even buy this team back into contention, even if he wanted to.
I disagree with that. You can always buy your way back into contention in baseball. Baseball is the easiest sport to go from worst to first of the four major sports. The Red Sox have done it a million times in the last 15 years. It's been maddening to watch them, but if you bring in a Dave Dombrowski type the way they did in 2015, towards the end of 2015, they turn that thing around in an offseason because you have a quality, competent baseball person. In the end, the Red Sox biggest problem is not what they spend on the roster, and I know that's an easy take for us all to go to because they don't spend what we want them to spend. Their problem, though, is not dollars and cents. Their problem is common sense. Their problem is baseball sense, and their problem is culture. They have a whole bunch of people in the job doing the job that they should not be doing, and there's infighting, there's backstabbing, there's politics. It's a bad, rotten culture all over the place, which is why Alex Cora is gone. Breslow sees power in the organization. The problem is Breslow's not good enough at his job, so you can't have Breslow seizing power. So if you want Sam Kennedy to then fire him, well, this is now going to be Sam Kennedy's fourth president of baseball operations. So all of a sudden, Kennedy is maybe on the hot seat a little bit. But he's not really in charge of baseball, even though he is. So can you really hold Kennedy accountable for what's on the field? Probably not, because he's not a baseball man, yet he runs the organization. It's not what they spend. It's the people in charge. And until you purge the whole thing, I don't know how much you get better. And by the way, too, the roster sucks, and the roster stinks, and the young players are overhyped and not good enough. So where do you begin?
Well, do you know what I think? The caller was James, right? You know what I think his point was? Is think back to last offseason, over a year ago. I know it wasn't real, the pursuit of Juan Soto, but you're talking about, all right, Juan Soto. You want to sign one of those 13-year deals, get a big superstar, and going to change the culture. That obviously didn't work out. They end up going to Garrett Crochet, who's a great addition, but was obviously there's a cost control there. He's a young player. You can sign him. It's not going to cost you a lot once you trade for him. And then they get Bregman on the fake deal, the 1 year, $40 million. And then at least this offseason, you had some reason to believe they would invest the money saved on the Rafael Devers, which again was a fake contract extension, one they never intended to see through to the end, clearly. And you got Pete Alonso out there. You got Kyle Schwarber. These are people in Kyle Schwarber, people that Red Sox fans used to want and then would get. And I know it's not that simple, but they have spent, and they have spent poorly. And the Mets are a great example. Spending doesn't guarantee you anything. The Yankees, for the longest time, were the greatest example. But this team spent well. They would identify people, whether it was through trade or free agency, and they made these additions. Now you're looking at it saying, A, who are they targeting? If they are targeting, like, who was the target this offseason?
Well, it was Bregman, but they didn't expect the money to go that far. I think we're seeing now on the field that it shouldn't be Bregman. I mean, Bregman's getting booed off the field in Chicago. It's a terrible contract. It's not that you let Bregman go. It's that you had no plan B. At third base, in your lineup as a right-handed bat, and most importantly, in the clubhouse as a leader. So you then say, okay, well, we're not going to spend the money on Bregman. We're not going to spend the money on Schwarber. We will, though, pay Ranger Suarez, which is, by the way, not a bad move. Good move. And they gave him $130 million. So it's not like they didn't want to pay somebody.
They also could have just kept Kyle Harrison.
They could have kept Kyle Harrison.
Then you don't have to pay for Ranger Suarez.
Spend the money on a bat, which makes more sense. So, like, am I going to put that on John Henry, that they gave $130 million to Ranger Suarez when they could have chosen to spend $130 million on a bat elsewhere? Like, that's not on John Henry.
Right. I mean, well, there is no track record or guarantee that Kyle Schwarber would have performed well in Boston.
No, not at all. Not at all. 617-7790.
Respectfully, Bregman is hitting 243 with 19 RBIs. I'll take that on the Red Sox.
Well, comparatively speaking, Jimmy.
I mean, would Durbin or Bregman?
I would. Oh, it's not even close. The point being is $175 million. You want a little bit more than that.
Absolutely, but the GM didn't want Bregman because the GM, Breslow, wanted to fire the hitting coach last year. Bregman stepped in front of it. Bregman was an Alex Cora guy. Cora is now gone. So, again, this tyrant Breslow just didn't want Cora people.
Well, Cora might be gone, but he's kind of like, Obi-Wan, like the Force Ghost. He's just out there, and he'll come to you when you need him.
He's the greater power.
He is. I mean, Jared Carrabis would definitely agree that Alex Cora is the greater power. Cora has been talking with the manager. We'll get to that. Ken Rosenthal with some reporting on that today as well. We'll continue. Matt McCarthy and Michael Hurley in for Felger and Mass.
I don't want to get into details, but we've talked, and he has been very supportive of me. He's an amazing human being. That's what he said. And I thought, wow, the way this firing went down, the firing of Cora, all the craziness that ensued there, remember, the Red Sox beat the Orioles 17-1 in Baltimore, then fired Cora and 6 coaches after the game. Then these guys get into a van from a company called Coaches for Hire. How interesting that was, a choice of words. And it was just an ugly circumstance all around. It was a shocking firing for starters. Alex Cora was in the second year of a 3-year contract, just starting the second year of a 3-year contract. And you would think, even though Chad Tracy was not the person who got Alex Cora fired, you would think Cora would not necessarily be reaching out and saying, hey, man, I'll help you do whatever you need. That kind of seems to be what happened. So it's a credit to Cora. It's a credit to Tracy as well that he built this relationship over the years with Tracy. And when I reached out to Cora initially, he didn't want to comment. He's kind of laying low. He's in Puerto Rico. He doesn't want to talk about anything really regarding the Red Sox. So he declined comment, and then he said, and don't put in there I declined comment. I said, well, Alex, that's not going to work. We have to put in that I reached out to you and you declined comment. So he said, okay, that's okay. And I thought that was the end of it. And then, I don't know, not that far after that, he sent me a long text basically saying we're a fraternity. we take care of each other in this sport. I learned that a long time ago. And then he talked about what Jim Tracy meant to him, how he might not have been a manager without Jim Tracy, might not have ever have ascended to the position that he did, a World Series winning manager, mind you. And he talked about Chad Tracy and how when Chad Tracy came into the organization, 2022, as a AAA manager, that they always were seemingly on the same page. They shared a lot of the same thoughts about baseball.
Ken Rosenthal, with his report that Alex Cora and Chad Tracy have been talking to one another. Maybe Tracy's been leaning on Cora providing advice, however you want to interpret it. And there's so much to dive into there. You have any major takeaways from that, Hurley?
One, I don't want to get a drink with Ken Rosenthal because I might scream out of... Get to the point, Ken. What is the message? Stop doing this every 5 seconds. But, I mean, it's not surprising because I think Alex Cora is an adult. He's been a little petulant in his role with the Red Sox, but he's still an adult. He's still smart. He knows this was not... He was not usurped in a coup by Tracy. This was not a move that the AAA manager did to undercut him. He got fired, and they had to put someone in his position. And plus, Matt, who has a better life right now than Alex Cora?
Oh, he's living the high life.
He's beachside in Puerto Rico right now, making $13 million. He's living life. So I don't think he's living a spiteful existence down there. And you know what? I'm sure he's not sad that the team has been terrible. But I'm sure he's not happy. But he's definitely not sad.
No, I would say Cora is more than happy to be doing what he's doing right now. It was obvious he didn't want to do the job anymore. So I don't want to... I think it's easy to do revisionist history on Alex Cora at this point. It's like, well, see, firing the manager didn't work. Yeah, firing the manager probably wasn't going to work because the team sucks and the organization is dysfunctional. That still does not mean that Alex Cora was the right man for the job, because he wasn't. Alex Cora was a part of the culture problems. He was petty. There was backstabbing behind the scenes. I love, by the way, in there, Rosenthal talking about how, well, you know, when Chad Tracy came into the organization in 2022, Cora and Tracy were aligned on how they feel that baseball should be played, which once again is a shot at Cora's opponents, the Chaim Blooms of the world, the Craig Breslows of the world. I would say Cora's right about that, but I'm tired of hearing that message from him. So that was beautifully Alex Cora. There's pettiness in there. There's also good in there because Cora does do a lot of good. And I absolutely take this at face value that he's doing what he can to help Chad Tracy out. We started the show with Tracy's comments yesterday saying, you know, we played some good baseball in a 6-1 loss to the Yankees.
He gave up a run in the 8th.
I'm not going to put this on Chad Tracy. He's the interim guy. He's been put in an impossible spot. The general manager refuses to commit to him. So if Cora's helping the guy out, good. I mean, he deserves it. Tracy deserves better than the situation he's been put in. And it is what it is when it comes to that.
I'm not putting it on Tracy. I just don't have to like him. I think I'm okay. I think I'm allowed to not like him.
Why do you dislike the guy?
Because of the smile. People that smile when they talk freak me out. Like that's the first thing.
Guy. What's your problem with happiness?
What are you smiling about? What are you hiding behind those pearly whites? I don't think I want to know.
I mean,
and it's just
the guy's managing the Boston Red Sox. I mean, that seems
great.
Even though it's a bad situation right now, would you be smiling if you were managing a baseball team?
I would.
You, Michael Hurley.
Yeah, sure. And then I'd go and we'd get pounded, and I'd go to the podium. I wouldn't be smiling about it.
You get paid either way, man.
Not for long. Not for long. You don't. So no, there's just this sort of. Everything is sugar-coated, and it's almost like this gaslighting that's coming, that it's sort of top-down in that organization, and he seems to be he's definitely way more in line than his predecessor was in Alex Cora. Alex Cora was not Mr. Sugar-coating, not Mr. Gaslighting, and that's why he's in Puerto Rico sipping a Mai Tai.
Jeff in Norwood. Hey, Jeff.
Gentlemen, I'm on Breslow's side. The guy takes a beating. He may not be a mensch, and he may not be the greatest office leader or front office leader in the history of Major League Baseball. But look at what he's done, look at the record, and look at what he inherited. Contreras, Crochet, Gray, Suarez, Chapman, all very, very good additions. Mm-hmm. Statistically, they bear that out. Good teammates, good players, good major leaguers. Meyer's a mess. Anthony's a mess. He inherited those guys. Didn't sign Bregman. Excellent non-move. Traded Devers. excellent decision. Now, you can say what you want about his leadership, and maybe he's going to learn his way through that, and his communication skills probably need a little work, but you really can't argue with what he's done as far as additions to the field.
So, Jeff, you make an interesting point, because when you grade out the individual moves Breslow has made, a lot of them are pretty good. It's the moves he doesn't make.
Well,
that's the issue.
He's not betting zero. No one said he's betting zero. There are indications that he doesn't know what he's doing half the time. Take the return in Rafael Devers, for example. A young, left-handed pitcher under control, and you dump him away for Caleb Durbin?
I'm on
and
record.
Andrew Monasterio?
I'm on record as always liking Kyle Harrison. I didn't like him as part of, as the centerpiece of a, Rafael Devers return. But yeah, I mean, you took that trade and you made it worse.
What is a rarer commodity in sports than a young left-handed pitcher under control for the next several years?
Well, they actually do have a number of those in Tolle and Early. And actually, the caller did not mention that. He has fixed the pitching development in this organization, undeniably.
But then just take, I know you have a glut of outfielders. That doesn't mean you trade a promising young prospect for Dustin May. Like, there have been moves that make you really question what his thought process is, and there are moves that have been brilliant. Like the Contreras and the Gray deals this year. Great.
So this offseason, he batted, if you want to make the argument, the guys he brought in, he batted .750.
Well, do you give him credit for not signing Bregman? Because he did try.
I give him credit for not extending beyond $165 million on Alex Bregman. I don't give him credit for having no plan beyond that. So, in a vacuum, and this is what I've said about Breslow, in a vacuum, the moves are generally good. Like, if we're grading this out, what do you give Sonny Gray, that trade? B+?
Is that Fitz?
Yeah. Dick Fitz?
Yeah. That's an A+.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. B+, A-.
Gray has, 2 bad starts this year.
Wilson Contreras, good move, right?
B+.
B+, A-.
Yeah.
What's the other move he made this offseason?
Well, he got Durbin.
Well, that was not good.
That's an F.
There was a third. Contreras, Gray. I'm drawing a blank on it. What are you going to do? You can say not signing Bregman right now from a pure baseball decision is a good decision. Oh, Ranger Suarez.
Oh, yeah, it was a good signing. I mean, it was there in front of you.
A- type move in a vacuum. Yeah. But with every single one of those moves.
Well, I would not A- that because it doesn't, they needed some pitching. They needed offense way more, and he went to the pitcher.
So again, if you're giving the individual grade on the specific move, it's good. But add the context to all of it.
Yeah.
You signed Ranger Suarez because you didn't want to sign a bat. You chose not to sign a bat, and you have the worst offense in Red Sox history, at least when it comes to power. The team can't hit it home. You suck. So, in a vacuum, the Suarez thing works, but then you add it to the context of the whole team, and you say, what the hell are you doing here? Keeping Early and Tolle and trading Harrison. I guess trading Harrison makes sense because you got all these lefties, but you trade him for Caleb Durbin. So the thought process was there, the execution wasn't, and when you put it all together, you have a guy who's not capable of doing the job. That's that, and the team is 9 games below 500. The record is what it is, and he is responsible for that.
And to the caller's point, he didn't even mention the people he mentioned Meyer and Anthony as people he inherited. How about Masataka Yoshida in the contract they refused to eat? How about Brian Bayo and the guy who can't pitch without a starter? So
he gave him that money. And by the way, you can trade Marcelo Meyer. He's been on the job since 2024. Good general managers come into organizations and say, I'm keeping that guy, I'm getting rid of that guy.
Well, Craig Breslow will tell you, in order to trade your players, other teams have to want them.
I think Marcelo Meyer would have been wanted 3 years ago. He's not wanted now because he sucks. 90 seconds, no commercials. We'll continue. Do want to get into the NBA Finals Game 3 tonight, get Hurley's thoughts on that, and anything you want for the next 3 hours in for Felger and Maz. McCarthy and Hurley hanging out. They're at the Who's Your Caddy Classic. I was too, but I'm here. They're not. It is what it is.
Interesting.
Quick update. Hardest working man in radio, I've heard.
So you can
self-proclaimed.
You can golf and work?
You can golf and work. Huh. I played 16 holes. I had to get off the whole,
A little sacrifice.
So I sacrificed. Huh. I'm a hero. Thank you for recognizing me.
You said it.
A heroic Sports Hub headlines on the way right now.